Hey everyone, it's SaturnDave, and this is TraynoCo here with me on a Friday. Thanks for joining us. It's going good, yeah. How are you doing?
Doing great, doing great. I like our new intro graphic. That looked pretty cool with the all little posters. Did you replace it with Lola Bunny? I didn't check yet.
No, actually that was just an image I pulled. It's just like an image I pulled and clobbered stuff together to make our own little like MTV intro kind of thing. And I figured, you know, the 2 seconds of like the Nirvana isn't gonna like, probably isn't gonna trip any, you know, send any red flags. Probably isn't gonna trip any.
Who are we kidding? It's probably going anyways.
Red flags.
Yeah. But anyways, it's going pretty good. Everything's going well. We got a lot of news this week, don't we? Right, Dave?
We do have a lot of news. I was just checking our latency, but we look good. Anybody in the comments, let us know if we start tripping, our audio gets ahead or behind, and I'll try to fix it because I actually figured out how to fix it now. Yeah, but
what was the issue?
The issue was like in OBS, there's like a sync, like your video takes longer to process than your audio because audio is easy. Yeah. So it was like, and your audio and video are coming from Discord, so they're kind of like baked at the same time, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like for me, my webcam was taking longer for that footage to process, or at least a couple of milliseconds longer. So I was like behind on last stream. But OBS has a sync offset, so I figured it out thanks to those YouTubers on YouTube that do tutorials.
YouTube.
That's right.
The YouTubers of YouTube that YouTube.
Oh my God, yeah. It's hot in this garage. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not in a studio, folks. I am in a garage, and it's hot here. Because it's San Diego.
Arizona's not doing pretty well either. It's getting to the 90s, 100s degrees.
Yeah.
No fun.
But I can't complain because, we have had, last week I was thinking, okay, next week might be boring because we had so much news last week. But no, another like not boring week we have lots of news, lots of things to talk about.
Listen, Dave, it's never boring on the SHIRO show. We'll figure out something, whether it be me juggling glasses with JoJo on it,
right?
Dancing, talking about different projects, debating topics, whatever.
One thing we did last week was we basically kind of told you guys that if you had any projects that you wanted us to shout, we would be happy to do that. We'd be happy to put them up on the website and then talk about them on the SHIRO show. And I didn't realize when I said that then that like this next week would be entirely about you guys. Like I looked at all of our stories that we have to tell, and it's really all about you guys. It's about the community. It's about what's going on, and what cool things you guys are, as it should be. Yeah, what cool things you guys are doing. So we're just delivering the mail here. We're telling the news, but it's all you guys that are doing the cool stuff, which is what we're going to get into right here. I'll bring up the browser here. And we're going to scroll down. Whoop. Lots of cool stuff. We kicked off the week. Well, we kicked off the weekend with a question to everyone on social media. I made up this little image of, Marty McFly hopping out of a Sega Saturn because he just...
Is that how it happened in the show movie?
That's how it happened. He came back changing Saturn's past. Well, actually, we did a podcast 3 years ago. It was like the What If cast with Sega Lord X, and Pat kind of kicked it off saying, we're the only podcast to go back and right history's wrongs or whatever, or go back and change
some dumb saying that I made.
Whatever.
Off on the
spot. It got me thinking. Like why not ask people in the community, people in the scene, what they thought, hypothetically would be would make the most significant change. So this was like a fun little thought experiment, and I didn't expect so many answers from folks, but and I'm going to make this quick, but I made like a little Family Feud board. So the top 10 answers on the board were everybody, like mostly everybody, even people who answered multiple answers, like their number one answer was no early launch. And I think that is a good launch. I think that's a good one.
There's no such thing as a free launch.
There's no such thing as a free launch, but there is an early launch, and it has detrimental effects. The truth is that early launch kind of had ripple effects to, for so many other things. I mean, we've talked about the Tiger teams who were working on, day one development stuff, they were
DLC,
and a lot of them just were not there. They're like, we're working on this project, but you're not going to have it for your early launch because our goal was, Saturn Day. And, then there was
SaturnDave.
No, that's not what I mean at all. But nice try.
Trying my best here. Can't all be winners, my friend.
Right. So no early launch, resounding across the board. There were a few folks who, once I posted this up, they're like, well, I don't really think that would make that much of a difference. I was just like, okay, but this is not me saying this. I mean, I agree, but this is everybody in the community was basically saying that they didn't think that the early launch should have happened. And then the next thing is, of course, like this got the second amount of votes was just more games, more which fans are taking care of right now, 25 years later. But at the time, I know a lot of people kind of had a chip on their shoulder about that and would have just liked more localizations, more RPGs, more shooters. We just wanted that stuff.
Like, didn't we literally get like 1/4 of the library here in America?
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, maybe even less than 1/4. Yeah, it's got to be less than 1/4 because there were like there's over 1,000, maybe 2,000. Somebody's got to throw that in the comments, but it was a lot. There's a lot of games. Now, mind you, a lot of those are hentai games. A lot of those are mahjong games.
Hey, games nonetheless. We
got quite a few like crazy visual novel things, going on. But for the most part, Saturn got a lot of games in Japan that we just didn't get here. So that was number 2. Moving along, number 3. I'm sorry, 32X fans. I'm sorry, Genovi. I'm so sorry.
People of it.
Andrew Rosa, Mastercast. I'm really sorry, but like there was a lot of 32X hate, or just like erase it from the history books.
I'm just glad that they gave the Sega CD some respect, though.
Yeah,
as it should be.
There actually was quite a few people. That's jumping ahead, of course, but there were quite a few people. I don't actually think I have that on the top 10 board, but there were quite a few people that just said, hold back Saturn and keep supporting Genesis, just like Nintendo did with the SNES. Release a lot of like, SVP games or, SVP chip games, or just like keep pushing the Genesis because it was doing financially well and would have continued to do so for at least another year. But I guess the problem with that is then PlayStation gets way out ahead of you, and it becomes really obvious that they're like the top dog there. So I don't know, that's kind of hypothetical, but definitely lots of people saying they didn't want the 32X. A lot of people saying they didn't want Bernie. I'm sorry, Bernie Stoller, but there are a lot of folks who are just like, go back and make it so that his parents didn't meet or something.
Well, that was messed up.
That's messed up. That's below the belt. I mean, honestly, Bernie did.
Can't you just have it so he doesn't meet any Sega executives, like pop his tires, so he misses the meeting?
I know, it's just interview? Like that's taking it a little far, and I'm surprised. Maybe people misunderstand like what an impact Bernie had. Yeah, he made mistakes for sure, but I mean, he wasn't like as bad as people make it out. Just like Tom Kalinske wasn't as good as people think. I mean, everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah,
but,
and these are the reason one of the Dreamcast was pretty successful in its marketing in the United States too.
Yeah. I mean, its popularity. I'm not a Stoller fan when it comes to the Saturn, but I do realize that he at least he didn't fumble with the Dreamcast launch. I think he did an okay job there. But I mean, for all the good it did, Anyway, lower price. That's probably a really good one, I think. Like if they were able to pivot right there on the spot and just say, you know what, forget it. We're going to take a loss on this and we're going to just give it to folks at the same price as PlayStation, might have made it more competitive just from the offset, considering the early launch had already happened. I would say that
or it might have sunk them completely.
It could have sunk them completely, but here's the thing. They ended up sinking anyway and losing a bunch of money anyway, you know what I'm saying? So it might have been...
What's a year or two earlier? It's a year or two difference, right?
Yeah, and then, they might not have had to, down the road, give away like 3 flagship titles for free just to sell it at a discount. You've got 3D Sonic pack-in game. That's kind of a no-brainer. Lots of people think that wouldn't make a difference, but I kind of agree that it definitely would make a difference in the West. Maybe not in Japan, but then that didn't matter. I kind of like to think
they sold it well in Japan. So.
Yeah, they should have just done what they do in Japan, done it their way, and agreed to let us do it our way, and just kind of like have it, and then in Europe, like let them do it their way without the influence of Sega of America for Europe, because there were quite a few European fans who were not too happy about Sega of America's influence on the way they did things in Sega of Europe. So I think every territory just kind of wanted to be able to do things their own way, and that's just not what happened. Better dev tools.
Sadness.
better dev tools and libraries would have happened without the early launch, though. So you see how it's like, you know, putting the cart before the horse or whatever, you know. So anyway, if you don't have an early launch, then you have more time for better dev tools and libraries. Fully 3D hardware, I don't know about that one. I love the fact that Saturn's a 2D powerhouse. I know that's a cliche statement. I think
maybe they should have just doubled down on the 2D.
They could have done that too. They could have made it incredibly... I mean, I don't know how you'd make it a better 2D machine than it is right now, because it literally was the best back then and almost still is, you know. But I mean, some people would argue the Neo Geo. But I mean, Saturn's got amazing 2D capability. It's just that at that time, it would have seemed a kind of weird move to go all 2D, when in the arcade, you're doing Virtua Fighter and Virtua Racing. And the whole idea back then was to bring the arcade home. You couldn't have done it. I'm talking too much, Pat. You take these last two.
I gotcha. All right, so the next one is Klinsky in charge. And I'm kind of in the middle about that one myself. As much as I do think Klinsky was a really great powerhouse, I mean, he obviously didn't do as well as he did during the years of Saturn and the first couple of years and the decisions he made. So I don't know how much better it would have been in that regards. Sadly.
Well, I think, okay, so personally, I don't think that he's like Superman or anything. You know, I don't think that he could just save everything, but I do feel like it was ineffective to have him as a lame duck. You know, it was ineffective to have him as the CEO, but then not allow him to execute on his plans. You know, either have him be CEO and allow him to execute on his strategies, or just don't have him and you know, go with Bernie from the beginning or something like that. You know, obviously that wouldn't have happened in history because Bernie was working for Sony. But the idea is, you know, like, if you're going to launch a console and you're going to appoint a CEO, allow him to execute on his strategies in the market and territory that he knows best, you know? So again, I'm kind of with you on that. It's not like Klinsky is a silver bullet, but again, he was so ineffective by them not allowing him the control that he needed in order to act as CEO, you know? And then
so it's definitely all over the place.
And then finally, just get rid of the competition altogether by partnering with them, you know? Sleep with the enemy. And who knows, we'd have like
sleep with you.
We'd have a Sony Saturn, or we'd have a Sega PlayStation. I don't know. That would be interesting.
A Sega PlayStation. I'd be down for that.
Honestly,
maybe they could have had a Sega Nintendo station.
Yeah, for the Family Feud, for the purpose of the Family Feud thing, I kind of had to shorten these, but I had an equal number of people saying that we should have signed Silicon Graphics for that deal, and then an equal number of people saying, oh, we should have just, you know, done that partnership with Sony, and then you don't have this huge competitor. And if anything, you got a partner with deep pockets who really knows how to make hardware and has a lot of the chips on the shelf, you know? So, I mean, those are all thoughts. Those are all really interesting thoughts. And then, you know, we had a few people that, you know, said nothing. I would change nothing. And I mean, that's me, actually. I've been that guy before where I'm just like, oh, well, if you change anything, then we're not here doing this show, you know, and we don't really have a lot to talk about because the history wouldn't be that interesting.
Well, we could say that it's the greatest console of all time because it's still successful.
Yeah.
And they have like 5 other consoles, so you never know.
Yeah, I mean, the Saturn is great in spite of all of the history. It's all water under the bridge at this point, and here we are talking about it. But yeah, so there are so many more that I cannot read at this time because this is so small. You know, less complicated.
The one that I said, though, I think that's the most important one.
Yeah. So Pat, he took this question completely different, and this just shows you how different Pat's think. Pat's like this over here with dollar signs in his eyes. He's like, I wanted to go back.
I won't buy 12 copies of an
He's like, forget Sega's failures. I just want to go back and buy 12 copies of Magic Knight Rare.
Specifically 12 copies.
You're such an opportunist. You're just like,
you know, you gotta take it as you see it. You know, you gotta get those stonks, get those gains. You know. Yeah. How it goes. But yeah, I think that's at the very bottom that you put it as buy all the rare games or something.
Yeah.
But yeah,
so anyway,
I think there's a lot of opportunity that they could have done to fix the console and I guess turn the direction. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's a what if, you know? What if the sky was red and the ocean was green, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure, I think there's a lot of really good comments from people as well talking
Sorry,
about
I was getting
it
a
as well.
call.
Very unprofessional. No.
Yeah, I know. So anyway, oh, sorry guys. Yeah, I was getting a call. But yeah, so there was a lot of impressions from you guys of different things, and it was just an interesting little way to kick off the week. And
Exactly.
and then after that, moving forward, we've got I had a guy on one of the sites. It was Drew Kanaz. He posted up this little video that he had basically managed to cut up the PCB on a Retrobit wireless and jam all of the components into an MK1, or like a Western, what we call the Western Model 1. It's not really Model 1, but I'm not going to get into that. The fact is,
my nickname for it is the awful controller.
the boomerang, the fat controller, the whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it is the Western launch model, the redesign. And he was able to, using a donor controller and then using a Retrobit, write up this really nice guide for folks to follow if you guys are technically inclined, because this doesn't look easy, but he lays it out. Everything you need, all the steps are right here. He was so kind for, he didn't have his own website. He does have his own YouTube channel, and we posted a video showing showing his, I guess, results, and that he got it working, but he didn't have a website to host this stuff. So he was generous enough to give us this information, allow us to host it on the SHIRO site for you guys as a resource. If anybody wants to do this, if you prefer this controller, and I mean, I kind of gave him a hard time in the article. I joked that, we're more than happy to we'll be more than happy to pass you your controller of choice as we go head to head in a Street Fighter 03 match, because I'm going to be much better on the Japanese pad than I am going to be on that other one, because that other one, the buttons just feel mushy to me, but that could just be me. Anybody who happened to use this controller back in the day and get good with it, I can understand how you would prefer it now. But
it's all about the fight stick, Dave.
My admittedly, I was not there on launch day. I wasn't there day one. My first Saturn that I got in late 96 or January 97, it was like Christmas, was a Model 2. Was like a round button Saturn, and it had the Japanese original pad design. So that's the one that I came up on, and that's why I love that pad, because to me that's the original pad that I had. But my first pad actually was the American style pad. Yeah. I like the aesthetics of it, but it just felt awful to play as. I felt much better on the Japanese style pad. Wow. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. The shoulder buttons are just unforgivable. I've ran into a few folks on the Facebook groups and on Twitter and stuff like that who just swear by the boomerang pad, and they just say that that's what they have bigger hands, or it just feels more comfortable to them, or it's just what they came up on. I've known people who are really good at knights, like Morgan Patrick in one of the groups. She swore by this thing, and she said that that's how she played knights. I couldn't imagine how anybody would play knights with a digital pad in the first place, let alone that digital pad, but that's the one she preferred. And she was quite good at it, all things considered. So, I mean, for those that really prefer this pad, now you have a guide to make a wireless version of it. And it's kind of interesting. I'm really interested in trying it out, because he says he replaces the micro switches in the controller, in the thumb, the shoulder buttons. Yes. So that's the thing that's going to make it better is by where are those? Yeah, he gives you. He gives you some examples of some micro switches that you can pick up from Mouser, or what is the other company that supplies electronics, stuff like that. Probably just a bunch of any electronic DigiKey or something. Yeah, DigiKey or Mouser online. Grangers, you can get this stuff cheap. And if you put new micro switches in it, then I can understand how it would be an improvement. And then we're just talking about the feel of the pad. But yeah, so you've got that going on. And I just want to mention while we're at it that I think it's worth mentioning that I've had a lot of issues. I don't have any problems just playing games with the Retrobit pads, but I have noticed since getting a satiator, and even back with the mode, that sometimes they just don't play nicely with the wireless pad because of the fact that they're looking for input at boot up, and it takes a while for it to sync. Have you noticed that at all?
it's funny with the not with the Saturn, but with the Genesis. When I got the Mega SD and I used that, I could not actually run the menu from that either.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, like the controllers when you're playing, they work fine, and the latency is almost negatable or negligible. But it's like sometimes I experience issues that are immediately solved by plugging in a wired controller. And either it's a fluke, but it's happened so many times now where a game will lock up. I'm using an ODE, mind you, not a disc. If it's a disc, it's smooth sailing the whole way. But if it's an ODE, either the mode or the satiator, I've noticed that sometimes I'll get lockups or I'll get some kind of errors, black screen errors, that are instantly solved by just rebooting the console with a wired controller. So I don't know. Go figure. I feel like that's worth mentioning, and maybe some folks have some insight into why that might be happening. But next on the list is crazy. It's something that kind of comes out of left field. Yesterday, I wake up.
Left field though.
Well, yesterday is April Fool's, right? And so I wake up, and this is one of the first things I see. I think Nick was one of the first people to like share it out, and I'm just thinking like, okay, that's fake news, right? Am I allowed to say that, or is YouTube gonna hit me for saying fake news?
We're banned now. we're offline.
But I'm just like, okay, it's April Fool's and everything, and then like Daniel over on one of the groups is, posting the same thing, and I'm just like, okay, what the heck? So come to find out,
I remember, he has the videos of that, and he always talked about that, and I was like, wait, what?
So the Last Dynasty, this is a game that if you've been in the Saturn scene and you've been in like groups either on Twitter or Facebook, it's been talked about for a few years now. People have shared out this information that this game exists and that it's complete, and that it was basically like ready to go out the door, but they just didn't release it. And I did the write-up on this. I can only assume, we can only really speculate that the reasons were that Sierra wasn't going to make any money on it, I guess. And at this point, it probably
wasn't profitable at all.
It just wasn't profitable. So they were like, okay, well, we've put this much money in so far to develop it, but we're going to be out this much more money if we pay for like a huge print run that doesn't sell. So it's like sometimes you just have to cut your losses if things aren't looking good. And who knows, maybe the original one for the PC didn't do that well. I don't know. I don't really have a whole lot of...
I certainly haven't heard of the game before until it started posting on here.
Yeah, it's like a mashup of Myst versus Wing Commander or something like that. Like, so there's
I thought
like
the same thing.
Yeah, you got like the Colony Wars thing where you're like in a spaceship shooting, but then there's also like FMV and like Myst elements, like where you're doing adventure stuff and everything like that. So anyway, the image gets dumped a couple days ago on the Hidden Palace.
Yeah, it said was it the 31st, right?
It was the 30th. Well, okay, I guess it went up on the 30th, but they're saying the published date.
On there.
Yeah. Well, right here it says the 30th. This is...
Oh, that's weird.
But anyway,
it might be one of those time zone things. Whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's developed by Cocktail Vision, published by Sierra Online. Here's a picture of the original. This is the CDR version, the like prototype discs that I guess were auctioned a few years ago. And then Saturn Guru, this is his old video on YouTube that you guys can check out. This was shared like in 2018, showing that the silvers, the pre-production silvers, were actually running on a stock Saturn. And he has subsequently released his version of the game. I can only imagine.
And that's Daniel, right?
That's Daniel Smith over on the Collectors of America. Sorry, not Collectors of America. Saturn Collectors and Gamers.
Yes,
there's a lot of Saturn groups on Facebook. I know some of you folks aren't even on Facebook, so it's hard to keep straight. But here is a copy of the box shots, front and back of the PC box, a little description that we pulled from Moby Games, so they're credited there, and some screenshots. We're actually going to be streaming this today on the. I figured, I can't pass up the opportunity to stream an unreleased game. We kind of have to. Cool. I have some other stuff on Satiator, like some pinball stuff, but we've been playing pinball now for like 2 or 3 weeks. I don't know. So
we need to take a pinball break.
Yeah, we need to take a pinball break. And this is kind of exciting that there is yet another unreleased game that is now released. So that's amazing.
It just goes to show how many other unreleased games are out there,
Absolutely. I mean, I don't even know. Like there's a Russian site. I forget the name of it, but there's a Russian site that has like a listing of like several unreleased games, and you know, some of them have had like beta or prototype leaks. Some of them are, you know, say that they were 100% complete, but they're still missing. This is just one of those ones that was like supposedly 100% complete minus a few bug fixes, but it was basically ready to go and unreleased. So that's kind of crazy. But yeah, and April Fools, you know, you don't expect any real news on April Fools, but I kid you not, guys, you can download this right now from Hidden Palace, or there's like a direct link on our website. You can download this ROM. Pat and I both have. It's real. I kid you not. So this is, you know, we're not pulling your leg here. And yeah, to be honest, well, you're going to see for yourself. There is some cheesy goodness though in the FMV cutscenes and stuff like that. If you're into the whole like B movie kind of thing, I think you might get a kick out of it. But yeah, as games go, I can see why maybe they didn't release it. Sorry. Yeah, we need to move on because we got so much to talk about. Let's see. Bulk slash localization. So the SHIRO disc, so I want to say like a month or two ago, some folks were just kind of like talking about like, I want to get in on a project. What's out there that hasn't been, you know, translated, or what could we work on together? And like 4 different guys got together to work on this bulk slash localization, and I was just amazed to see this come together kind of like from the beginning and see these guys work together. You've got Lacquerware or Greg Lacquerware, you got Danthrax4, you got Memphis or Mamdu, who's he's been on the streams before, he's in our chat a lot, and he's in the SHIRO Discord server, and then Galleon, if I'm saying that right, Galleon.
Galonian.
Yeah. Well, I think it's Galleon. Anyway, they've all been working. They've all been working doing, you know, they've been extracting images. They've been patching the image parts. They've been doing they're working on the voiceover. They're trying to get actors or actresses to help with that. So if you're interested in this project and you happen to be like a voice actor, there's contact info at the bottom here that you can get in touch with them, because they are looking for people who can do a good job on this. They've posted.
I should really apply.
You should apply. Yeah,
I should apply and see if I can get a role.
Who knows? Can you do a female voice? I think that's what they're asking for here.
Is it only female voices?
Well, they said actresses. So
actresses. I gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, so anyway, but they did post up like a proof of concept video showing that it's very possible that they've already got it figured out how to insert that audio. They really just need the person to do the voiceover, and then they've got proof showing, you know, how they're able to get all the characters localized. So this is excellent news. Bulk Slash is an amazing game. I know Sam, the Southern Sega gentleman, is going to be hugely excited about this.
He's going to have a backflip, because I think he was one to work on that too.
Yeah, he was. And I mean, I imagine that he would be if it wasn't for the fact that he's been so busy and he's been out on the road working really hard. But I know that he's back right now for like a couple weeks stint, so he's probably going to be doing putting some kind of video up. First and foremost, spending time with the family, that's always first priority, but if he gets any time, I wouldn't be surprised if he posts something up about this, or you know, eventually does a video, because he's done Bulk Slash streams before, and he even did some localized box art for it. So I know he's big on this game because he's a huge mecha fan. So for all those of you that like Bulk Slash, hell, for those of you who haven't played it, you definitely need to go play it and experience it. It's a great game on the Saturn. It incorporates 2D and 3D very well, and with the English translation, it's going to be that much more accessible. So it was already a pretty accessible game, but you just don't know what they're saying, you know?
Who cares? As long as it's fun, what does it matter, right?
Yeah, exactly. This is all you. This was your write-up, Pat.
Gotcha. Sounds good. All right, so I know it's sort of a little bit off the beaten path for us to go into Dreamcast stuff, even though we've done it before. But, you know, as a massive Sakura Wars fan, I always love getting games for it, because, you know, we really didn't get a lot in the States. We really got So Long My Love, and, of course, the new Sakura Wars game on Dreamcast. Sorry, on Dreamcast. The new Sakura Wars on the PS4, which I'm still playing through. It's really fun. Recommend that. But yeah, recently Derek aka A-Team, who has also done before the Dreamcast games for translations for Evangelion and Taxi 2, which I had a little hand in doing Taxi 2's FMV subtitles. But enough for me. It's about him. So he decided, hey, why don't I try doing a Sakura Wars columns? Like, all right, go for it, dude. So he's slowly been translating it, and it was to the point where he was saying that besides the press start button in the main menu text, everything else was in pure Japanese, so pretty much everything had to be converted. As you can see, it went from that to, if you scroll down a little bit, to that right there. Right. Where the text for the English, for, of course, Iris, the best character, of course. Mm-hmm. But basically, it's basically a basic column games, connect them, but there's a bunch of voice acting, a lot of really fun mini games, and I played for a little bit, and it was a ton of fun. I would recommend people try this out when it drops, because I'm not typically a puzzle guy, but I definitely think it was a lot of fun. Did you get a chance to play this at all, Dave? Or
I haven't gotten to play. I am definitely interested. In fact, I am a novice when it comes to columns, but I figured this is the perfect way for me to break into it. I have my mode ready. I am going to get this on the mode. I hope we have an opportunity to stream it. I think that ought to be you, really. And I should just do color commentary or whatever. But I definitely want to play this game. And actually, I'm very impressed with how thorough Derek is, because not only did he translate the game, he included all of the DLC that's embedded onto the disc, so you can actually, using the on-disc browser, you can go into the DLC area and download all of the DLC off the disc onto your VMU. So that's awesome right there. And then on top of that, he went one step further and he translated the little graphic for the VMU. So I mean, like, he went all out. So when this launches, I mean, you literally could put a plastic wrapper on this thing, and it would feel like an American Dreamcast release, I
would definitely be down to buy a repro of that.
I mean,
I'm
would
not
too.
usually a fan of it, but
yeah,
I would be down to buy it, especially on Dreamcast.
So yeah, I mean, this is polished, like what he's finally going to release. And I know that he's taking this very seriously, because he's talked about, he's very meticulous and talked about how important each little tiny aspect of this game is. And, someone might go and think, oh, well, it's a puzzle game, how complicated could it be? But like, he's really gone deep into like all the little complicated.
Trust me, there's a lot of stuff on there.
So yeah, I'm excited to put this on my mode and rock it on my Dreamcast for sure. So and here's all of his contact information. There's a link to the Sega Extreme page, the Dreamcast Talk forums, his GitHub, the Twitter. So we've got everything here, including his YouTube channel where you can check out videos of it.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny. He came into the community like about a year or so ago, just chatting and talking with us, and like
it was more than that. Exploded. I think it was like a couple years ago.
Probably, yeah.
But I mean, he's one of those ones that have been with us for a while and in chats and stuff like that, and so it's really exciting to see him start working on projects and putting stuff out.
He's like blowing through a bunch of them. Like it's just like one after another. Like he's done like 3 in a span of a few months.
Exactly. So
it's crazy.
Very prolific.
And they're great games.
Yeah, these folks are killing it. Next up, more from the community. We've got Sansagolo, or G Sansagolo, I think is what he goes by on Twitter and Facebook, right?
Yep, and it's a few of them.
It's a few of them. Okay, so yeah, so this guy, and we talked to him on the cast. He was in our chat during the live stream. He may join us today during the live stream, but he basically does visual novels. And I noticed that he does them, they're multi-platform. Like one of them I clicked through and I saw like this one right here is playable online in like a higher, where was it? Actually, I don't know if this is the right link. But I clicked through to one of his projects before, and I noticed that it was like in higher res, and he was like, it was playable online, and then he's like porting it to the Saturn. I think that's
what he's doing for a few of his games. It's like simultaneous releases, which
so like this one, for example, really cool. Red Moon Lost Days, you can or the Nightfall Riot, it's playable online, but then he's also like downscaling it and putting it on the Saturn, which is awesome. I mean, hopefully that means that the Saturn has a bright future of lots of or not graphic novels, but visual novels, you know. So
yeah,
I know a lot of people are into
Chris
those.
Mingle, we got the Lighthouse one that just dropped.
Exactly.
I mean, it's the amount of visual novels we can have is endless. So it's only a matter of time till we get Snatcher 2.
Snatcher 2 would be amazing. That would be awesome. Maybe, who knows? Maybe one day we'll have like our own little SHIRO visual novel. I'd have to figure out
the dating sim. Date one of the SHIROs.
Date one of the SHIRO. No. I wouldn't go that way with it. Oh man. But yeah. So we welcome you guys. If you guys are working on projects that you would like a signal boost, you would like us to talk about it on the show, we would be more than happy to do so. All you have to do is join we put a link in the description for our Discord, which you guys are more than welcome to join. And then just DM either Patrick or myself with the information, and we'll get a write-up onto the website. And we are more than happy to feature community projects, because, you know, this is what we do, and we're super excited about all the cool stuff you guys are making. It's just crazy that you know, I know it's cliche to say the Saturn is our future by now, because that's been repeated quite a few times, but I mean, it's true. It's true. We really, like, the fans really are just taking it into their own hands to like
also go to the
make
article.
stuff happen.
Did you like the little reference I put in there to the best dating sim?
Oh, was it a Doozy J reference?
Yeah, GR Doozy.
Yeah, that's right. I saw that screenshot and I was like, wait a second, that's not one of his games. But yeah, no, we need a localization on that. I'm not kidding. You know, that would be awesome.
I'll get something going.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'll rename whoever that guy is the Whale Guy Whale Man. He's officially just going to be named Whale Man. I don't care about keeping keeping integrity. It's going to be Whale Man if I translate it. So
yeah,
if you don't
absolutely.
like that, too bad.
Yeah. I mean, so just to recap, we had community opinions on Saturn's, troubled past. We had a Western MK1 pad mod for cramming retrobit internals into the Western MK1 pad. You guys want to check that out? Drew Canaz did the mod, and he also wrote up the guide. So thank you, Drew. Appreciate it. And he also mentioned that he has a couple other projects in the works that he does plan on sharing with SHIRO. So stay tuned for those. If you guys are technically, hardware inclined and you guys are good with a soldering iron, those will be things to look out for. We had an unreleased game drop on April Fool's. Well, before April Fool's, but we found out about it on April Fool's. So we thought it was an April Fool's. We thought it was an April Fool's, but nope, it's real, and that's crazy. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that in the days and months to come. If it'll, get a mention on the game history preservation or whatever, with Frank Cifaldi or, Kelsey Lewin, right? She's a part of that project as well, right? I mean, you'd imagine something like this would be important to those folks for sure. And I just think that Saturn really just has the low light when it comes to that stuff. It does. It's true. I mean, if anything from Nintendo 64 or 64DD comes out or anything like that, it's like the hugest news ever. But if it's Saturn, it'd break the internet. This one, it's like, oh, it's Saturn. It's like, all right, yeah, that's cool. Add it to the archive, I guess. Whatever. People are so indifferent, and they're like, well, I guess it doesn't help that it's not like a crazy, anime or weeb style game, like if it was, then I'm sure that would make more waves, but instead it's just kind of like, we'll have to go to Japan and scour the archives and see if we could find anything. We've got a bulk / English localization that's looking amazing. I don't think it's going to take them that long to finish, honestly. It sounds like they are working quickly on it, and so I'm super stoked to play that. Soccer Wars Columns 2 on Dreamcast, also very nearing completion. Very exciting. We're not a Dreamcast site, but that doesn't matter. We're all Dreamcast fans. Some of us even exactly. It's almost talking about cool. Dreamcast anyways. Exactly. So we love the Dreamcast, and we're super excited for Soccer Wars Columns 2. Thank you, Derek, for that. A-Team, and then we've got. Thank you, man. He's in the chat. He's in the chat too, by the way. If you want to hit him up. Yes. Thank you, Derek. Thank you so much for the work you've done for the community. And thanks for just being a part of the SHIRO server and being active. And then, of course, G. Sensagolo with his 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 visual novels. I can only imagine that he's going to keep knocking these out of the park. He said that the latest one that he's working on, Red Moon, is has like a 4-month development cycle, and it'll be ready to go. So,
oh wow,
he's got his ducks in a row.
Play that one.
He's like, I write the script, I got all the assets, then I just go boom, 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 and it's done.
Yeah.
So
I mean, once he has the engine done and all set in stone, it shouldn't be too hard.
I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that he's porting them, from another platform. Yeah. So he's got them all. He's basically got them all finished, and then he's just like porting them onto the Saturn. So it's just a matter of it's just a matter of how long that takes for that process.
I'm pumped to play him.
For a week of a lot of what seems like a lot of news, we kind of like burned through that pretty quickly. we got done before the hour.
We're fast talkers.
Yeah, we're fast talkers.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, we can talk about a topic or something that you like to talk about, or
this
we can
take
a question. If anybody in the chat wants to ask us something, I guess we'll see the first thing somebody wants us to talk about.
Well, you can open up. You can actually open up the chat if you want. You can unmute everybody. Because
I gotcha.
We're not starting the stream yet. We usually start that hour too, but we got like 15 minutes to burn here. So I guess I could switch over to the stream.
Yeah, it's cool.
We speed run. We speed run that. That's what we did.
Yeah. Actually, there's something I might want to talk about. Is that what future translations would you like that's not Princess Crown?
Yeah. So I'm not one of those people who's like super dying to have Princess Crown. I mean, I've played Princess Crown.
I'm not saying, I just meant like just anything else. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, go ahead.
Oh yeah. Oh, Emerald Nova's in here too.
So for me, your green screen just came down. You guys have seen you've pulled back the curtain. Literally pulled back the curtain. Whoa, Pat! Now it's way.
Everything's falling down.
Everything's falling down. Okay.
I'm gonna do this. New strategy. Okay, we're good.
We've got a bunch of creases. We got a bunch of creases now. You guys have seen it here first. No, for me personally, I'm gonna say despite it being quite playable in English, I would love to see Wachenroder receive a translation. I'm a huge like cyberpunk guy, steampunk cyberpunk kind of thing. I love the artwork and yeah, I mean, we're okay.
So any
Wachenroder for me would probably be close to number one. One that I would love to see translated, but I don't know. It would be the most monumental task. Would be that Monogatari. What is the full title? It's like a mouthful, but it's the hand-drawn, huge sprites. And I know part of the title is the Monogatari game. I have it, and it's like a 2-disc game. It's like super thick, has a huge book that comes with it, and The Island of Seven Winds, I think, is the localized title. But I would love to see that translated. And I know that a Spanish translation was in the works years ago, and I don't know if it was ever completed. And I imagine, if they translate it into any Latin-based language, they'd be able to then easily translate it into English. But again, that's a game that I would love just because of the art and the music. It's pretty cool, and I'm a big point-and-click adventure game, fan personally. But yeah,
there's actually one I want though.
What's that?
The one I want really badly. Shin Megami Tensei Digital Devil Summoner.
Oh yeah. The SMT games are awesome, and there's two of those on the Saturn, 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, but I would love the Digital Devil Summoner. That'd be great to have on there.
Yeah, and then is somebody working on Soul Hackers for Saturn?
Somebody is working on Soul Hackers, I believe.
Because there was like a 3DS version that was translated, right? And I don't know if they're working off of that for the assets, or that's a project I need to look more into so that I have more information to speak on it knowledgeably. But at least it was something that I saw in passing that somebody was working on Soul Hackers, and I'd be down for that.
What about you guys in chat, in the voice chat?
Hi everyone, it's James.
I just kind of been sitting quietly, but I did want to poke in on that Soul Hackers thing. From what I've heard, the SMT translation project was some guy managed to figure out a way to strip the text out of the DS version and have a proof of concept in the Saturn version, but the progress has been slow and there haven't been a lot of updates. So it looks like it's doable, and if someone wanted to put the effort in, it should be able to be done without a whole heck of a lot of trouble compared to some other translation projects. But I just don't think there's a lot of will there, considering it's not like a super exclusive game like some of the other Saturn RPGs might have been.
Yeah, some of these things just aren't very high priority if they've already been released on other things. I mean, I think that's part of the reason that Princess Crown, you know, there's not been that much of a rush on it. It's like people can play it, you know. Grandia took forever. Before, what's that?
James was saying something, but I think got cut off.
Kind of cut off.
Yeah.
There's like half a dozen people in chat right now, so we're probably all gonna start talking over each other once something interesting comes up for everyone.
Yeah, I think I'm muted, but yeah, James, you can talk if you want. Sorry about that. But yeah, what about what about you, Trekkies Unite? Is there or actually no? I guess Emerald, is there anything you want that hasn't been really announced yet or that hasn't been worked on? I think that is a no.
Well, I mean, you know,
there's a no Emerald.
those guys are so busy working on new games, which is also amazing. And you know, I have to say I'm probably more excited for English translations get a lot of attention just because they're known quantities. They're like known games that people have wanted for years, you know. And so whenever you see like something like Bulk Slash is getting an English translation, everybody throws their hands up and is like, oh, I gotta play that, you know. But I mean, I've been playing Bulk Slash for years, and so it's not like I haven't experienced it, right? Experiencing it in English would be great, and definitely I will give it another playthrough in English. But that doesn't add or take away from the fact of what a great game it is. But yeah, I've already played that, so like I'm really excited to see like what happens with Seni Ryu, for example, like Emerald Nova's game. He's got like a good solid like idea and framework there, but to see that fleshed out into the form of a game for me is going to be really exciting. And like XL2, the stuff that he's working on, the sky's the limit, really. I can't wait to see what's going to happen for next year's homebrew competition, because it seems like these things just keep getting better and better every year, you know, and more people start dogpiling on, you know, as far as like, well, I want to make, you know, if they've got experience and they want to start, you know, poking around the Saturn hardware, it just seems like a lot can be done with this machine that hasn't really been, you know, looked into. There's a lot of things you can get working on it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
what about that?
Sorry. Yeah, I'm trying not to talk over him, but I did want to address a couple of things that you said. I am in agreement that it's a lot easier for translation projects to get more attention and more focus, especially when they're near completion, than the homebrew projects, the original projects. And that's part of the reason why I split up the competition into those two categories, original game and Hacks Batches translation. And I try to throw more money at the prizes for original games for that reason, because I want to see the more original stuff. It does take more effort to get the equivalent amount of content on screen because you have to source everything.
Absolutely.
But the thing is, the translation guys and the original game guys, they're not. We all talk to each other, but we hardly ever do the other guys' things. Like, I have no idea how to even start with translation, and I'm sure Trekkies can talk, you know, for hours about translation, but I don't know that Trekkies has actually tried to do an original game because he's so focused on all these projects that he's part of. I would also like to say that on the note of...
I am literally right now programming Final Fantasy as we speak.
Yeah,
Ooh,
Final Fantasy is still a port.
But I mean, he's the master.
From no source code.
Yeah, I mean,
you have to rewrite the engine. I respect that. That is a very hard piece of work to do. But as far as getting original assets together, the design work and the sprite work and the music have been done.
Right, but with Trekkies, just to argue in his case is that
not an artist.
he does a lot of extraction and then like upscaling or there's a lot that goes into what he does that I would say is a little different than your typical patcher, you know, your typical, you know, asset patcher, somebody who goes in and just messes with the hex file. You know, it's like Trekkies is remastering a lot of the content and then finding ways to insert it back in the game and trick the game into running it, which I do think. Correct. Yeah, which I do think he's kind of like cornered the, like he's kind of become the guy for that kind of stuff. So that's,
Right.
I respect that a lot. But absolutely, Emerald, I agree with what you're saying. And I'm just hoping, like, I don't think we were even equipped to really showcase you guys as much as we should have been. Hopefully by next year we will be. And that's going to be our goal, is to really push it hard. It's not about SHIRO. It's not about, you know, it's about what you guys are doing, and it's about the hard work that you're going to be doing for the next year to get prepared for that. I'm sure you guys are all, you know, working your butts off to make great stuff that's going to impress all of us. So hopefully we're in a really good position to boost your signal next year and really help people understand that there's some really awesome stuff coming to the Saturn because of you guys.
Yeah, so at the moment I'm working on Blue Skies. It's a flight sim game. It's being directed and largely produced, I guess you'd say, by Xenos. And Xenos is the guy that did the art for Scenario, all the modeling.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so that's what I'm working on right now. Scenario is kind of on the back burner until the second half of the year,
Okay.
or until I finish Blue Skies, whichever comes first. And for next year's, or this year's competition, I should say, because it's going to start in September or whatever, you know, yeah, September it sounds like, and end on New Year's. I'm accepting donations to expand the prize pool. So this year I've just received the 3D prints, and I've already grabbed the money. So I'm actually starting to mail out this weekend all the prizes for everyone that won something this year. I'm gonna, if I can get more money in the prize pool, I'll put a little bit more of my money this year again, but with all the shipping costs, it's actually like doubling my cost because I have to ship 3D prints. If more people come in, I can give prizes to a larger number of people, and I can expand the prize pool for the highest prizes.
Cool.
Never know. Maybe we can throw some stuff in, like some Saturn games or something, and
Maybe
if
you
people
can
really
throw
want to
in
autograph by us, we could.
Throw in a pre-fund printer. Right?
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
wink, wink.
We'll ship you a giant pre-fund printer. I imagine you'll be enjoying that.
Seriously though, Emerald, DM one of us with that information, like all the little bullet points, and we'll do a write-up and we'll talk about it and push it out. What your plans are and the kind of engagement and the cooperation that you want from the community. We will solicit people to donate if there's like a link that they can do that.
Yeah. So actually, if you go to emeraldnova.com, I've opened up a relatively new section called Community.
Okay.
And I've tried to fill it out with as much historical information and bios of all the people in the Saturn homebrew community.
Right, the who's who.
Yeah, the who. It's basically a Rolodex with the people who they've worked with, some really short boilerplate interviews, and what projects they've been on. A lot of people have their pages filled out already. Some don't. I'm still working on it. Some people aren't available anymore.
Right.
Like some people from way back when, Rock and B and whatnot, and Cyber Warrior X.
Cyber Warrior.
But you can kind of piece together, like from a historical perspective, how things have evolved. There's links, there's pictures to different pieces of hardware. But on that same page, if you scroll down to the competition section, you'll see the results. Again, thank you guys for being judges. You'll see the results for this last year's competition, along with a donate button for this year's competition. And I will open the page up for the 2021 or the 26th anniversary, 27th, I forget.
Okay. Well, cool. Well, we will point folks to that page then, and encourage them to visit it. Excellent. Yeah. I really thought that, this last competition was, I think it was a good success. I think it was a big success considering how early it is in the game, and assuming you do this annually and that it continues, it's only going to get bigger. And I do think that hopefully, and
a lot of people were interested.
I have all
in
intentions to keep this going perpetually, even if I have to retire from homebrew. If my time runs out, I'm still going to keep funding it.
Continue to organize it.
If Scenario for some reason falls out, or I just don't have time to program anymore, I will still continue to fund this competition and try to organize a centralized database for helping people to get started.
Cool.
So I've been slacking on the tutorials, but I should eventually have tutorials on my website to get started in either Joe Engine or Y'all for how to actually build your own game.
That's
Because
awesome.
I want more people to try and enter.
That's awesome. That is good news. Excellent. So exciting stuff on the horizon, and we're really, really just grateful and privileged to be able to have you guys with us in the chat and have us on the SHIRO server. check out Emerald's page. We will link it in the video once this thing goes live. Once this thing goes up as a VOD, we'll go ahead and put a link to that in the description. We'll probably even write something up on the website with links to forward you guys over there so that you check it out and that you're sure to donate to their cause over the next year, because the more that, like he says, the bigger the cash prize, the more the more incentive people are going to have to get involved, because a lot of times these guys who are programmers, they can't really work on something if it's not going to at least pay the bills a little bit, or I know I was talking to Walfredo. I think it's Walfredo, who's he goes by Miss Salon, and he's working on a game where he's like, I can really only work on it in tiny little bits and pieces because it doesn't pay the bills at all. It's only like a passion project. So it's like, he's like, I got to prioritize things that are actually going to, pay the rent. So I can understand. But
I don't think the prize money is ever going to pay the rent. Like XL2 won first prize by a very slim margin over Seven Shades this last year, and he only got like a $20 or $25 cash prize and 3D print.
Okay.
So, unless some millionaire comes in and just dumps money on the competition, so
right,
that like all 20 entries or all 25 entries can all get like $500, I don't think it's going to happen.
That's an interesting idea, though. I wonder if someone out there would be interested in supporting such a thing, like on a larger scale.
Yeah.
Maybe even if it was like $1,000 or $5,000. It'd be interesting. It's definitely something that we can put out to the community, because I know there are folks out there who are have the means and they want to find good things to support. So
I think I've even heard people say that they'd be willing to fund their own translation team to get some of these games translated.
I have seen that personally, so that would be interesting.
I mean, we need to see more Patreons for these kinds of things. Like, I've had people tell me to start one, but I don't think I can put the time commitment on to justify it. But definitely for translated games, I mean, Trekkies, you and some of the SX guys that work together on some of these things should definitely consider a Patreon just to like justify your own work, or at least
I'd back a Patreon for all the like Trekkies and Night of Dragon.
I think if you get into like doing translations, you can get into some legal trouble, because technically you don't own the game you're getting money for.
Yeah,
I guess, but I think a lot of people like that do the FPGA projects also have a Patreon for like the CPS 1 cores and stuff like that.
Sure, but
and
that's like
own it, but yeah.
you're emulating. We're talking about like actually working with the assets. I think where Trekkies is coming from is that there's kind of like I don't know if it's spoken or unspoken, but there's a code to this, and it's like you never charge money. It's all supposed to be free. Kind of like free information, right? And so it's, if you get into this and you do this, you're doing it purely because your heart's in it. And when you release it, you don't want somebody taking that and then making a buck off of it, right? So it's like there's this really strong code among those people to just, always have it be free. So I can understand why you don't want to get into that gray area. But again, I'm a content creator, and I understand why it's important to, have folks have the ability to be able to support you in one way or another. So, I can definitely see both sides of it for sure.
So totally a lot of fan games. There's many fan games that get away with this by giving away the game for free, having no restrictions, but saying this is like a donation. And they manage to stay out of trouble for that. But in general, for all of Saturn Homebrew, we're unless you're using y'all, we're all building off of SGL and SBL at least a little bit.
Exactly.
And even if you're using 100% y'all, you're still using a header file that was generated by Sega of America. So no matter what, we're stealing something from Sega when we make these games in order to get them to run on hardware.
You'd have to like.
It'd be nice if they had an option to buy the licenses, though.
Well,
to be fair, though, Sega had it on an unprotected FTP server in the 90s.
Sorry?
To be fair, it comes from an unprotected FTP server that Sega had in the 90s, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. So the homebrew community got really lucky a while back and managed to just open up Sega's servers and just download a bunch of useful stuff, which we're still using today. I have heard rumors of some people attempting getting past the front door in terms of attempting talks to actually print CDs that would run on hardware.
Yeah.
Like with actually talking to Sega or someone that has Sega's CD print or whatever the CD
The wobble
manufacturing
printer, whatever.
The wobble, the little proprietary
Money
protection.
that leaves on the table.
Say that again?
Yep.
It's money that Sega are leaving at the table if they don't take the offer.
For sure.
Yeah, but then they'd argue that maybe the money wouldn't justify the amount that they would sell or something of that nature.
Yeah, it's kind of a niche thing that it may not be worth the amount of money to get like a factory up that could actually produce and print that again may not be worth the amount they would get in return.
Right.
I mean, if Sony dumped the Vita and like PS3 discs for printing, I mean, imagine what Sega would probably have to do to get that up and running.
And a lot of these companies, they need a guarantee on their investment at this stage. You know, it's like Sega was taking risks back in the 90s, but they don't really take those kind of risks anymore.
Like, love them or hate them, the only way you could probably get away with it is do like what Limited Run Games does, where you do a like, okay, we're going to take pre-orders, however many we get, that's what we're making. Yeah,
you're taking the risk, and then they're just licensing it, and they're getting a cut of the profits, but you're the one assuming all the risk in that scenario. So provided you get permission, which is something we talked about recently, projects need to get permission. You do have to ask. You do have to have them say yes. You just can't decide, oh yeah, we're just gonna make a Sega licensed game or a Sega franchise game without the license. See how far that goes.
You can't exactly do that.
I mean, you can try, but that kind of stuff usually catches up to you.
Future, we might end up with some clever hacker discovering a way of tricking the Saturn into booting a burned disk, much like how the PS2 recently had a new exploit discovered all these years later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, that comes down to user interest, the community interest. Like if there's PS2, such a mainline and, it was such a successful console. You can just imagine how many people are interested in working on that machine. The more, and I mean, that right there is a great argument for why like Emerald's competition is so important, because we just want to get more and more people interested in actually working on the Saturn, because that could open up doors to things like that. You know, somebody making a discovery along the way. I mean, I know that Abrasive, that kind of stumbling on the satiator thing was kind of an accident, or it was a side effect of him looking into chiptune stuff for the Saturn sound hardware. So that's kind of the way things go. Sometimes you're poking around in certain areas and you find something else that is interesting and intriguing and worth exploring. So
Gotcha. All right. Did we want to move on to the gameplay section?
Yeah,
we're running a little bit over now because of this, but yeah, thanks for discussion, guys. I guess
we can continue the discussion in the game stream. To be honest,
on the video, yeah, for sure.
What we have
can wrap this up.
Yeah, so I'll head on over to the game stream.
Yeah, but have a great day, guys. Thanks for watching.
Oh, you're wrapping it up for those who will just be watching after the fact. I got you. Yeah, Pat's been basically making this, putting this in a podcast format so that folks, let me make sure can watch after the fact. Yeah, but my controller's like, there we go.
Hey Pat, can I just say real quick, your green screen game was actually on point. I honestly thought you two were in the same room. Like maybe now that I can see it, obviously the focal lengths for your two cameras are kind of different or whatever, but I thought you guys were in the same room before your green screen fell over.
Good, that means it works.
No one noticed until I was dumb and I tripped on myself
on his green screen.
But
yeah,
I was telling Dave I need to get a cover for my chair, like a green cover, because I'm sitting on my green screen right now, and that's what happened. Is I got up because I'm basically just sitting on my green screen to cover up the chair underneath it. You got to get something to throw over the back of the chair. But yeah, I'll pick up some green stuff at Walmart or whatever later on.
I'm glad to hear you say that the illusion at least works a little bit. I wish that Pat and I were in the same room. One day we will be. We're kind of in different states, and it's like
PRG 2021-22, baby.
We do kind of, that's the plan. If that doesn't get canceled, I hope it doesn't. Crossing my fingers here, but yeah, definitely we want to hook up at PRGE, and hopefully maybe Peter can come down again, or Ben.
And we can get this all set up in their hotel room. Get a giant green screen up.
We can have an actual couch. The gaming session.
Probably a bed.
But yeah, that's the general idea. Is I just kind of wanted to create the aesthetic that even though we're separate, we're together, and that we're able to talk about this stuff together. So yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, here's this new game. Well, here's this old new game.
Newish game.
It's called The Last Dynasty. This was a Sierra online game. This is a PC game. Released in the West and in Europe, it was released in the United States, and North America and in Europe, and I'm not sure if it was released in Japan. I don't think so. There's this one was developed by Cocktail Vision. It was just recently dumped. Maybe it wasn't met with, like Pat said, maybe it wasn't met with that much fanfare
acclaim.
because it's a Saturn game, and I guess a lot of people just don't care. But I think it's news. I think it's great news, and I couldn't pass up the opportunity to stream it since it's very timely. Since we all just found out about it yesterday. So I'm gonna play the introduction.
We're gonna encourage Dave to play some Wing Commander next.
Can people watching the stream? Can you guys hear the game audio, or do I need to turn it up?
Look in the chat.
You can get the Discord, so it's on there.
All right, I'm going to turn up the game audio just a bit so that folks can hear, and I'm going to play the introduction to this game so that we're all just seeing. And this is running off the Satiator.
So yeah, we haven't run it off the Satiator, so we don't know.
So far, so good. I had one lockup earlier that was kind of like I was doing the start and ABC thing a lot, and that kind of like locked it up. So trying to soft reset the game. But as long as I don't touch it should be fine.
The action replay patch, I think, is still kind of a little bit experimental. Like, people have been having good results, but I don't know if it's like 100% yet.
Oh, I wasn't using the AR patch. I was just doing a normal soft reset trying to do a normal soft reset into the menu of the game. And that was locking up. But you haven't been in the last couple of streams. I'm reiterating for anyone who heard me before, say that I was having problems with the Satiator. I've been pretty smooth sailing with FAT32 formatting. I had my card exFAT formatted before, and I ran into a lot of issues. But ever since I formatted FAT32, it's been pretty smooth sailing. There's been the odd lockup related to using a retrobit controller and not having the controller sync at boot, so the machine wouldn't think that I had an actual controller inserted. There's been stuff like that where I've been able to fix the issue by just plugging in a wired controller. And then there's been aside from that, there's been I don't know, like I was messing around with the Saturn Rings menu and making a lot of changes directly to the SD card, and I think I don't know if that fragments it or whatever, but I noticed that just pulling everything off, reformatting the card, and dumping everything back onto the card got rid of any lockup issues that I was having. So anyway,
yeah. So
gotcha.
I just wanted. So this game, it just came out. Is this a prototype or is this a finished product?
This is a product. This is a finished product that got pulled right before it went to market. There were pre-production silvers, according to my understanding. There was the images that you see online are like the gold CDR discs, but there is a person on one of the groups, Daniel Smith, who is in possession of pre-production silvers of this game, and I think he's the only one who has them. So apparently this was a ready-to-go game.
Yeah, apparently he also has another prototype disc, but I think he said it's the same data on both of them.
Okay, so my point there is, I was going back to what you said about the ABC start reset, is that you that's not a hardware thing, that you have to specifically program that in. There's a SHIRO call that, and if this is a prototype, or a lot of these Saturn devs back in the day were kind of lazy about following Sega spec, like you remember Croc having that weird reset glitch, some other games like that. It could very well be that they didn't implement it properly.
I actually thought about, that was a thought that I had when that happened, I was thinking about how you had to explicitly tell everyone in the competition that that was one of the requirements, right? They had to program that in, that functionality, so that it was.
That's so that Trekkies could eventually put them onto a demo disc. We're hoping to put maybe like one or two. Well, I don't know. I'm not going to speak for Trekkies.
I'm just waiting on a trailer from Night of Dragon for Symphony of the Night, and then I should be able to put a demo disc together of about 5 games from the competition and 4 trailers.
Okay.
Yeah, I was actually considering maybe doing one, but I just realized I had to send my Saturn because I'm getting it recapped completely and get the FRAM mod, just because I noticed on the white one I use for my captures that it has faint jail bars in some situations. So I'm getting it recapped right now.
I'm doing 4 recaps myself at the moment.
Yeah, I'm hoping this will solve the problem. If not, I'll have to go down the chain and start upgrading cables, and I'm not really fond of doing that.
There's an issue with PAL Saturns, hopefully you've never had to stumble into it, where the final stage of the video output, there's a series of 3-legged capacitors just before you get to the AV port, and they're all drifting out of spec on the version 9 and version 7 motherboards, and you'll end up with the image just wobbling left and right constantly.
So we're locked up. We are locked up here. Either it's taking a really long time to load, or it's locked up. Okay, so last week we were streaming the Fantastic Pinball game, right? And we would get to these screens where it was loading new assets, and it just took forever, right? And reformatting the card and then putting everything back on and just not touching it, that fixed that. But then this is a brand new image that I just added to the card yesterday, and now I'm having these issues. So I don't know.
It could be a loading issue, a la like a Z.
Yeah, but I mean,
we had that same issue with Z.
I got into this. I got into this and was playing it just fine earlier. So I don't know. Either I wait here and see what happens, or I have to like reboot. We could try that.
But funny story about the crashing thing, or the issues with the satiator.
Yeah.
When I was making that Fire Pro trailer for Trekkies for that demo disc, I got to a certain parts where it was playing the music, it would just lock up like it was skipping the CD, and it'd just be wrestling. It's like dun na 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 over and over again. I was like, oh geez, how am I gonna capture the audio for this?
All right, let's just start fresh and see what happens.
Okay, so a couple things, but I think you already said this is not the first time you played it. But the first time you put a disc image in the CD eater, I think Abrasive says he's not doing it, but I'm not sure if I believe him here, that it's building some metadata or something, because the first time I load any new game, it's always slow.
It is. Yeah, the rings menu actually illustrates that. It actually shows the building of that and the caching of data. Like it actually gives you like a progress.
His explanation.
Oh, what's that?
I probably misunderstood his explanation, because I thought it had something to do with the out.dsc file.
Right.
And Abrasive said it's not that, but maybe it's building some sort of table somewhere.
Okay, so I'm gonna try again. Testing backup cartridge not found. Internal save memory 20 blocks. Enter your password. Don't have one. Yeah. Okay, so press start. We're just gonna try here to go again.
Oh, Derek's in the chat, by the way. Can you unmute Derek, or you're not able to? Okay, there we go.
I'm here. Hello.
Got you. Yeah, so you can join us for the columns part. But yeah, we really enjoyed what we played of it. Is there anything you wanted to say that we might have messed up or missed, or completely went over completely?
No, they were very kind words, and I appreciate the the spotlight there. And the only thing I just would want to mention is obviously a lot of technical work from me. I mean, I think I've sunk about 215 hours into this already since January 25th. But the translators, right? Because without the Japanese language knowledge, this would just be an exercise in machine translation, right? So those guys, one of them,
it's locked up
here. Fernandez and a couple others, Danthrax 4, who worked with Nanashi on the Cotton 2 translation. He's part of the team as well. Also,
nice. If you could send me those credits, I'll add it to the article.
Sure. Yep. And
I'm gonna try one more time.
The name of Natsume. So that's all I wanted to mention. But look out for another month or so. Should have the final release. Very excited.
Nice. Yeah, I was playing a little bit. It was really fun.
Right when I started that project, I had no idea what I was getting myself in for.
But hey, you know what? Did you have any other projects that you're eyeing towards? I know you probably want to take a little break, but
yeah, probably, to be honest. I want to actually play some games.
there.
You mind if I do a little bit of a comment on that Soccer Wars columns?
Sure, go for it.
So we thought that this was just going to be a regular old puzzle game, with a handful of text here and there with a Soccer Wars skin. We didn't realize there were 12 full-length storylines, just as long as like a main chapter, just as like a chapter in the main game.
Wow.
And we didn't. Yeah, we got totally blindsided by it.
Yikes. Well, whatever next one you guys work on, let me know. I'll help you out in some capacity. I've done some hex editing in the past before, so hopefully I'll be able to contribute in that way. But it's probably gonna be a little bit more than that.
I really want to go on a Soccer Wars 2, but I know that's going to be a very big project, and I'm hoping maybe even just do like a one chapter and get the ball rolling, see if almost like a pitch, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'll take a look at an image for that, and I'll go through the hex. I'm actually slacking though, because I think I told Night of Dragon I'd start converting some of the Resident Evil cutscenes, the uncensored ones, to the Cinepack standard to put in there, and I need to follow Trekkie's guide, but I just haven't had the time to sit down and set up the whole virtual machine environment. So, but we'll see.
We've all got a backlog, the size of the Old Testament, so it's okay. Yeah. Everybody gets it.
I finally managed to get the translations to work on my Raya. Finally found the perfect combo of software that enabled them to boot first time. So I've started playing Grandia.
Nice. That must be a lot of fun. I really enjoyed playing Grandia a lot. Thanks again, Trekkies.
Yeah, the first track in the score, just goosebumps, just so damn good. It feels like this was something I should have played many years ago.
Yeah, did you pick up? They actually released a vinyl record of that, like a box set of that game. It's pretty sweet.
For all of the plastic crap I subject my partner to, I shall not start collecting vinyls on top of that. She's already seen, like, I've got 5 Saturns in the back room in various states of disrepair.
Fair enough. Yeah, I usually just collect a lot of the records and stuff mostly, because at least Saturn related ones I mostly go for, just because I think it's really cool.
I'm currently looking at a long play of a JRPG from Hudson Soft that obviously never came out in the West, called Tengai Makyo Dayon no Moku Shiro. And it looks really cool.
Is that the RP?
Beautiful graphics with sort of like almost like Sakura Wars style cutscenes, but they're for the fights. Hard to describe.
Interesting. I'll have to give that one a try. You'll have to send me a link to that, because I do not know. I'm not going to be able to remember that name.
I only stumbled into it because I was looking for the Tenchi Muyo games, because obviously I'm a big weeb and I like to see all the games.
I love Tenchi Muyo.
Dude, Tenchi Muyo, Tenchi Universe, damn good times. As a kid, I thought Tenchi in Tokyo was okay, but coming back to it, it's aged poorly.
Oof, yeah. I really need to finish watching that series. I think they just did a new thing for that too recently.
There's always a new Tenchi coming out, but I'm afraid the magic is long since gone, much like Neon Genesis.
Oof, I wouldn't say the magic's gone for that one. We still need Emerald and I are still waiting for 4.0. We're 4.0. We're searching for those cam rips, right?
We got the subs though. We have the subs, but we don't have the cam rip.
Yeah, it's driving us nuts. So we even have like a group chat, and it's like we're trying to hunt it down. Like I have all these web alerts.
Yeah,
just so I get a sniff.
Discord that we have a $5 bounty for the first person to give us the torrent file.
Yeah, I'm so pumped for that. I can't wait to get that movie down. But once they do it, the only reason I want to watch the cam rip is just so I don't get spoiled on it, because I know people on the internet are dumb and like making memes spoilers. So I don't want to, because I know it's going to be a bit different. I don't know if it's going to end the same way EOE did, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, I've only been partially spoiled looking for this thing, but it's all about which waifu ends up winning in the end. So it's just a stupid 4chan grab. So I managed to avoid anything serious.
I have
Fair
something
enough.
to say that I think Trekkies might be interested in. I don't know. It's CRI related, and that is that Zaiden, who is over on the Dreamcast Talk forums, and he runs the DreamPie solution for Saturn, the Netlink zone. He has been working on what's that game? No, it's a Sega Touring Car Championship, right? He's been working on getting the whole thing running on the net, basically forwarding and running on the net, on the Dreamcast Talk service, right? And he's been able to get the forums working. Like you can actually access the forums and type comments and stuff through your Saturn. You can send email back and forth and share saves, and he even got the CRI browser working. And I guess he says that it can play WAV files, which is pretty cool. Like CRI was just doing a lot of weird, cool stuff with, and I guess they built the browser that game's online functionalities runs on. So he's gonna.
Yeah, I think the latest version of the Planet Web browser can actually play WAV files and compressed 80PCM ones.
Oh, okay, cool. I wouldn't be surprised if it's just another, version of CRI's browser or their technology. I mean, since they're basically a internal Sega R&D team, but yeah. So it's really cool though that he has that functionality. He said it's going to be ready soon, and folks are just going to be able to. I mean, I know there's not a huge market for that game. Like a lot of folks find it not that controllable, but I mean it's cool. I still these
FMVs are awful.
Well, also they're dubbed. It's like they did studio voiceovers. Like they did the acting, but then they did like studio voiceovers.
I don't understand.
I wonder if this would have been fixed in the official release, because these look really bad.
Well, I wonder what the PC version looks like.
It's the same.
That'd be the comparison.
Just higher res.
Like, look, you could see the keying on their green screen, and the resolution is like potato.
Yeah.
Like imagine.
Yeah, but PC FMV codecs at this time weren't that great either. Remember, they had to run on potato hardware too, like a 486.
Okay, yeah, but that's beside the point. I'm just saying.
I mean, have you seen Final Fantasy VII's FMVs on PC on the original release? They're significantly worse than the PS1.
The quality of compression. I'm just talking about green screen effects. You could see their halo of green around.
Sure. I'm just saying the real thing to see is if it would have been fixed at release is what does the PC version look like? Because that's what got released.
Oh.
Somebody was asking if this works with the mission stick, and I do not know the answer to that. I think Daniel Smith was saying something about it on his group about the mission stick.
I think he said he didn't have one.
I don't have a mission stick. I know.
Nobody has a mission stick.
I'm SaturnDave and I don't have a mission stick, but honestly, like I don't have a lot of bulky peripherals. The wheel is like probably one of the only huge bulky peripherals that I have just due to space. Like I have a lot of CRTs, but I don't have space for bulky peripherals.
This reminds me a lot of like Dune. Is that
Dune?
just me getting those vibes?
Oh, I'm getting the Dune vibes for sure. Like
I think the biggest vibe is how they're both awful. So I think that's the biggest vibe I'm getting.
Yeah, but there's like a whole contingent of folks who love that stuff. Like there are folks who love the whole B movie
but
thing.
the movie is like.
Wait, the movie? Do you mean like the miniseries, like the one with Patrick Stewart?
No, wait, is that a miniseries? I thought that was an entire movie, the Dune movie, right?
No, it should have been a miniseries, I think.
I thought that it was. Yeah, I thought it was like a miniseries. The one with Sting in it, right? Isn't Sting in there?
Yeah, that's a miniseries.
Oh, there was a miniseries and there was a movie, wasn't there? I'm getting them confused.
There's like a 2-hour movie.
Gotcha, yeah.
It's with Sting, and then Patrick Stewart's in that one too.
Yeah.
But they changed like a bunch of components, like how the weapons work or something like that.
This game is very FMV heavy though. I will say that. It's 2 discs, right? So you got 2 discs and it's mostly FMV. And it's anybody. I'm not touching anything. Oh yeah, okay, good. We didn't lock up. I was gonna say. Yeah, third time's a charm.
I'm jealous of this game right now because I don't remember seeing any proper 3D full motion space fighters. So I was gonna add that element to Scenario, but
there is one. There is one, and it's actually really good. Actually, it's called Darklight Conflict. It's the closest thing we would get to like a Colony Wars on the Saturn.
You also have Stellar Assault.
Oh, Stellar Assault. Now, Stellar Assault reminds me, though. Okay, I'm gonna pause it here. Stellar Assault reminds me more of like the Galaxian games, you know, that Namco would put out in the arcade. It's I love Stellar Assault. I think it's amazing. And if we're putting those two side by side, Stellar Assault wins hands down. The Sega Saturn version especially. But to me it's just different. These are more like the, like the Colony Wars style games, or like it's almost like Stargate, you know, with the like the B movie kind of FMV cutscenes and stuff.
The one I'm kind of surprised, like, no port seems to have ever been on the table was like one of the Wing Commanders.
Oh yeah, Heart of the Tiger would have been.
You had them on the Sega CD, you had them on the PS1, you even had them on the 3DO.
3DO.
So it's kind of surprising they didn't do a port of at least like the 3DO one.
I know, Mark Hamill, he was amazing in that. I love that game. Number 3.
I mean, if this one didn't get released, maybe it was the same vibe with that. Because didn't Sierra do the Wing Commanders too?
I thought that was
I
Origin.
thought they were EA, but I could be. Oh wait, no, that's just who owns it now.
They were EA, weren't they?
No. So before Origin was EA, it was Origin. It was Wing Commander and Ultima were sister series. So I think even Richard Garrett was involved in Wing Commander.
I died.
But at this point in time, I don't think EA had taken over and destroyed Origin yet.
Gotcha. I'm guessing that's where that name, the Origin thing, comes from.
Couple.
After they burned both those series to the ground, and all Origin has left is its name, and that's what they use.
Gotcha. What do you say? C?
Oh, I was just mentioning how a couple minutes ago you were talking about Tenkai Makio. The reason why it looks like Sakura Wars is because they both have the same producer. That was a franchise he made before he went on to work on Sakura Wars.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I didn't mention that in the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it's called.
Yeah.
It is for East of Eden. Okay.
Yeah, and so there's only been like I think a Super Nintendo game got translated, but I think that's been the only one that's ever come over to the West.
I gotcha. Yeah, because I remember I mentioned that. I didn't know the Japanese name of it though. I mentioned the translation video for the first one.
And I died again. This level is much harder. Like that first level was like easy peasy. This one is like throws you right in, and you've got like enemies flanking you on all sides. I'm gonna have to get good here.
I like this comment by Michael C. This game actually looks like a potato.
Like a potato.
Darling, sorry to interrupt, but some amazing breaking news. The Fenrir 21-pin model is now finished and ready for ordering in May.
Oh, that is good news.
Really?
Dead.
Same price point? I wonder. It should be, right?
Or if he gets it to the same price as the 20-pin, because he dropped that recently to celebrate how many he sold.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll have to get another Saturn and plug it in there.
But as far as I'm concerned, the compatibility is equal to, in my experience, the Raya and the Phoebe. So, you're losing that button functionality for cycling discs. But he can implement it via Wi-Fi interface, which is what he's planning in the future because it's got a more powerful FPGA.
Nice.
Wait, what do you mean? With the Wi-Fi of what?
There's a Wi-Fi
the
module.
chip for the... Yep.
Oh, well, that's cool. So you can...
HTML server on your phone and then just type in a command to swap disks or something.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
awesome.
that's cool. I was thinking that you just have it as like a disk transfer, so you just like instead of moving, you just turn your Saturn on and you just like transfer files like through the Wi-Fi.
If it's able to do that, that'd be fantastic. Get a new build every time there's a new update to some fan translation. You can just hot swap it.
It'd be amazing if
That'd be
it could
kinda
have
cool.
you could have like an SMB server on your like NAS or something like that, and it could just like beam data. I don't know if that
That'd
would
be insane.
That would be insane. You know.
It'd be nice.
Imagine
I've
that.
got for the PS2. Sadly for me, the latest version of OPL has broken my SMB network, so I'll have to revert to the old one or figure out what's wrong.
Oh yeah.
I need to set up an SMB. I only have a NAS set up for my Plex server.
I have an SMB set up on. Funny enough, my Wii, my old Wii, has like an SNES emulator, and not all of them do this, but a lot of the creators put an SMB capability, like network capability, into their emulators, and I just pipe in all of the Super Nintendo ROMs off of my network. That way I can have them at, you know, all in one place.
Be able to keep on your hard drive.
Can I ask you to go over on Twitter and give Sed some words of appreciation, because this is actually like a bit of a feat.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
As soon as I put this controller down.
Yeah. So many people were waiting on the Fenrir specifically for the 21 pin, because I think the 21 pin is supposed to be the more common model.
Yeah.
Well, that's a funny question, isn't it? Did the Saturn sell more units at the beginning when there were still 20-pin models, or, you know, had they already transitioned to the 21-pin early enough in production before the sales flatlined?
I think for Japan that might be the case, that there might be more in that, but besides that, probably sold more of the... I don't know, because the white ones are pretty common. Those were later models.
21 pins are found way more frequently in the wild, because even there's model ones that are 21 pin.
I think by the time like they released in the US, I think even like the US model ones are like the later revision that it's one board with the 21 pin.
I think you're right.
I think it's only the very early Japanese ones are that one where you open it up, it's just like it's a mess of boards where like the MPEG slot is on a separate board, the power supply is mounted to the top of the thing.
Yes.
Like that's
tiny
really,
little daughter
only
boards.
the very early Japanese ones.
I have one of those. I have an American.
Actually,
super rare.
Oh no.
Yeah, a friend of mine has a US Model 1 that is a 20 pin actually, now that I think about it. But
This game plays like a potato.
It is a potato.
This game is a potato.
Maybe it was good it wasn't released.
I don't know,
Okay, guys, this game outside the cutscenes actually looks really good, and I just want to point out, it looks like we almost have overlapping transparencies. When two shields from two different ships are on the same part of the screen, that's more difficult than it sounds.
Nerd. I'm just kidding. No, you're right. You're right.
That was a good one. It's okay, we can laugh.
Yeah, I'm a nerd too.
Exactly.
You're the one playing this
Right,
game,
this
Dave,
game
so
were
you have
better.
no right to speak about being a nerd.
Well,
If they're writing this game better, the central gameplay loop in this game looks fantastic.
yeah.
I'll tell you
But
this, the
my
guy in the
weapon is
top left of
overheating.
your screen is a lot better than the cybermorph chick asking you, "Where did you learn to fly?"
What did you learn to fly? Well, okay, so like with bulk slash, that's gonna be the annoying thing with that. It's gonna be like, go forward, go forward, go forward.
It's almost like you're desensitized because it's Japanese. It doesn't register.
It doesn't
right?
register.
Like,
I'll do the
command.
voice for everybody. I'll be like, go forward, go forward. That's what they need me to do the voice for.
All right, I'm gonna try again. This time, just in ship mode, like Star Fox.
Starfax.
Starfax.
Starfax. You're gonna get the Starfax.
You're gonna get the Carfax.
Starfax.
Well, that's what they get when in Star Wars. They don't get the Carfax. They get the Starfax.
There's
Wah,
a just
wah.
that I know there's a podcast
Or if you're
called
from
Batman
Buffalo,
Saturn.
you might say it that way.
Fantastic.
I didn't get that,
James?
Colin.
I've got a friend who does a podcast in the States, and he's got a fantastic smoky accent, and I've recommended he try it for maybe the navigator or for the intro outro sort of male voice.
That's good. Sounds good. Is his name Sam? The SSG?
Oh, we should
Go
have multiple
forward.
dubs for this
Go
game, just
forward.
multiple fan dubs.
The Shiro bulk slash voice acting.
Yes, all the waifus are voiced by the SHIRO cast.
Oh God.
That would be
That sounds like a
terrible.
nightmare.
Yeah, I
Hey
can't
Pat,
even
you
sound.
want to re-record the audio, the dubbing for Kayama for columns 2? What do you say?
Down.
Everybody's like,
Data?
you got McLovin. Just kidding. Pat
I
hates
just
that
like doing
comment.
Mac Lovin accent the entire time. I had to sound more nasally than that, and his voice a little bit more high.
Party.
Oh, better yet, we get Justin Roland, and he does the voice of like everybody in that game.
He could do it too.
I played Justin Roiland voiced bulk slash. That sounds like a good time.
I don't think I'm going to be playing this for very long.
If we lived in a better world, more voicing would have been done by the original Robotnik voice off the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon. There's like some jazz musician, I think, when he wasn't voicing Robotnik.
Oh yeah, no, he has a good voice. You're talking about the first one or the one in Satam? Okay.
The one from Saturn, he sounds like he smoked nothing but Marlboro since childhood.
I think he's a pretty famous voice actor.
Who, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Peter Peter something.
What? That voice literally gave me nightmares as a kid.
Yeah, I like it. He does a lot of really interesting things. He's still voicing stuff to this day too. It's pretty crazy.
And it seems the chap who plays Liquid Snake is always up for voicing things. Have you seen his YouTube channel?
Oh yeah, Cam Clark.
With David Cater.
My favorite thing is when he went to go to get order from Taco Bell.
Yeah.
With that.
Brother.
Man, I need to play the MGS series again.
That'd be the most amazing fan project to see MGS, even if it's just like the original demo section with the loading bay and then the helicopter pads just running on a Saturn engine, see what that version of the graphics would be like.
I think there's a really key on rumor, like focused on rumor that apparently Metal Gear Solid code passed through the Saturn at one point. Now I don't know what that means, but I'm guessing they mean that they tried it.
Obscure hardware. He wanted to make it for the 3DO, if I recall correctly.
The MGS one?
Yes, I think it was originally meant to very early. This is years before the MGS you and I know came to fruition. But it was originally, I think, conceived as a 3DO game.
Yeah, because I mean, he did release Police Knots on there, so it wouldn't surprise me that, because Konami at that point was doing multi-plats anyways. Like Police Knots was on the 3DO and Saturn and PlayStation. So what I'm guessing happened
on the Sega CD recently as well. Oh, that's so good.
Oh man, I love Sinatra. Sinatra and Police Knots are hands down my favorite visual novels, or I guess action adventure games.
Hell yeah.
Like point and click. I don't know.
I just need
Notice the avatar icon, or whatever people call it these days.
Avatar? Oh yeah, your icon, the Police Knots logo.
Oh, it's really great, that RetroWare TV little English patch, like translation. I don't even know what you'd call it. It's like a little mini documentary, 45 minutes long.
Yeah.
If you've never seen it, oh, it's so great. All about the game, Police Knots, the translation patch, everything.
Oh, there's actually a documentary on that?
Yeah, it's very old at this point. Maybe, I mean, very old relative to, the internet and YouTube in general. But I think I've seen it, no joke, I don't know, 50 times. It's one of those good things to put on when you go to bed. Just leave it on the TV, fall asleep.
Is it a fan thing?
Yeah, RetroWare TV.
Okay, I never watched it. I'll have to see that then. I know there was a thing.
Great.
That's it.
I did that. Yeah, because I think one of the things that I always watch all the time when I'm bored is the My Life in Gaming RGB videos. I know all about it, but I'll still watch it for no reason whatsoever.
Oh yeah, they're great. It's the production quality, right?
The production quality is great, but the videos are so quickly outdated. There's always a new breakthrough in RGB tech and whatnot.
Yeah, it's pretty nostalgic though, because I think back to when I first started getting into it, and it's like, because those are the videos I watched when I was getting really serious about like getting PVMs and stuff back in like 15 and 16.
Just before they went truly mental price-wise.
Yeah, I was looking online. Apparently, a bunch of them are like in the 700 plus range for just standard def sets.
Somebody drove one approximately 100 miles from the English North to my part of the country in the Midlands, and he'd had it in some sort of outdoor storage crate for years, so it just completely rusted on the inside.
Oof, that's a big rip right there.
Some sort of atmosphere, and he had loads. He received a bulk clot from a hospital that cleared them out of a natal ward, and he just hadn't put them in the sort of atmosphere they needed to maintain them.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to do that in England.
I messaged him on eBay saying, "Hey, I'm interested, but I'm planning out the route to get to you." He's like, "Oh, I'll drive it to you. By the way, are you a medical student?" I said, "No, I'm just a person with no life and a lot of love for old games."
Hey guys, we're gonna have to cut this off early because I think that my daughter woke up from her nap early. Normally she sleeps past 2:30, but again, I'm not gonna put any more time into this right now, because I just, like you said, Pat, it's running like a potato, and and I do, I agree that it's like, they had something here. I think that it could have been better, but the difficulty is
maybe that's what they thought. They looked at it as like, this is a potato, just stopped.
Yeah.
You can kind of
let's not do this.
Hardware, on the background. Like if you're paying attention to the nebulas, there's just these graphical effects that are like, obviously they didn't have full transparency control here, so they just make do with what they had.
Exactly.
The longer you stare at it, the more you see the flaws. But that just, it's probably because I'm used to thinking about this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I can see this getting old very quickly.
Yeah.
Like honestly, it looks like they're not really using VDP2 for background layers. It's just black.
Yeah, and then just the stars are just like
and
little
then like
sprites.
everything else is just kind of being drawn with like VDP1 sprites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that could explain how they're getting away with some of the transparencies, because VDP1 can do them. It's just where you get into trouble is trying to blend with both layers. So
Right.
that could be what they're doing there and why it's working.
So when you get hit and the background flashes white, you actually see the black outline of all the sprites in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Right, probably because it's paletted and they didn't get the colors right or something.
I think it's just an April Fool's joke, 25 years in the making or whatever it is.
25 years
that's what this is.
Yeah, it's just a really elaborate April Fool's joke.
April Fools, this game sucks.
Yeah, but hey, as far as gaming history preservation goes, I'm glad that it's out there. I'm glad folks can play it and make their own decisions about whether they like it or not. And again, it probably would benefit from like, I want to, when I get all of the images that I'm gonna put on my final SD card for my satiator, I'm just gonna kind of like set it and forget it. But again, when I'm like taking the card out and putting new images on and constantly swapping and swapping out, I think that's when it kind of causes problems with it. So we had a couple lockups, but I mean, so far it's been okay. So one of the things I did was actually I removed the backup cartridge in the backup cartridge slot, and so maybe that was part of the issue. I don't know, but remains to be seen. Anyway, thanks for joining us, everybody. I'm sorry that we have to cut this a little short. Again, it was almost a 2-hour stream, so that's good. And we had plenty to talk about on the news segment. So thank you, everyone.
We'll have a long first section.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for the projects you're working on. Thanks for reaching out to us and allowing us to boost your signals on that. We're really impressed with the work you guys are doing and hope you'll continue. And until next time, it's Saturn Dave and TraynoCo reminding you must play Sega Saturn. And thanks for joining us. Until next time, this is us signing out.
Later.